The Legacy KCAA 1050 AM and Express 106.5 FM.
KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. We are an NBC affiliate. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Eric J. Chambers, and welcome to the Cut Chronicles, where we chronicle urban life. For those of you joining us online on KCAARadio.com, you can click the play button that's next to my picture on the website, and you'll get a chance to see me right here live and in living color. I am flying solo for the very first time. Usually I have in-studio guests, but my guests this week are going to be calling us from various parts of the country. You know, October, it is the month in which the leaves start to change and the beauty of fall falls upon us. It is a month that's also dedicated to breast cancer awareness. So on tonight's episode of the Cut Chronicles, that's what we're going to address, breast cancer. While it's mostly a women's issue, it does indeed affect men. Most notably, of course, Richard Roundtree. Remember the man who played John Shaft back in the 70s? Well, he's one of the many men who have been diagnosed with breast cancer. And I first interviewed him back in 2008 when he told me of his story. But joining us tonight to share in his own story of being a male breast cancer survivor is a man who's been a fixture in my life ever since I was a teenager, dating back many years when I was a 9th grader at Pearl River High School in Pearl River, Louisiana. He is Coach Charlie Bowman, a graduate of Grambling State University, and he's a retired art teacher, a coach, an athletic director at my former high school, Pearl River High School, once again in Pearl River, Louisiana. That was the place, actually, where these dreams of me doing what I'm doing now, that's where they began, back in those woods. And as I attended there, 9th and 10th grade, and he was my art teacher. And so at this time, we'd like to welcome Southern California Coach Charlie Bowman to the Cut Chronicles. Coach Bowman, are you there?
Yes, I'm there, Eric, and thank you for that intro. I'd like to thank everybody for listening in. I hope that I don't disappoint them.
Oh, no, there's no way you're going to disappoint. You have a story that is triumphant. But before we get to that, we have one more hurdle that you are, of course, you're trying to, you are in the process, I should say, of crossing one other hurdle. That is breast cancer. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But let's talk about your awesome accomplishments as the recipient of a new track field named after you a few months ago at Pearl River High School there in Pearl River, Louisiana. It's the Charlie Bowman Track and Field Facility. Man, that must have been an honor for you to have a facility named after you.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a great honor, and it's a legacy, not just for me, but for my family and all you guys that was there. It was a great thing for the turnout and to see people there and to get that honor. Now, not to be bragging or anything about that, I'm the first black coach, athlete, teacher in that area that have had a facility named after it. and I honor, the honor is mine, but it goes before that, a long way before that. I have had a lot of people who have contributed to this recognition, and yes, it was so flattering. I did have some tears, but they were tears of joy.
Well, that's totally awesome. And understand that you had the longest tenure of an African American as an athletic director, as a coach. So there's a lot of records that you were breaking over the years. Did you ever imagine that that would happen in your career when you came there from Grambling State University to go to a very predominantly white area of Louisiana? And again, there was only, I think, one other black teacher there when I was there, Mr. Winfield Leday. Let's give him a shout out, even though he is deceased now. But the two of you guys meant the world to us. And as I told you in the conversation that we had on Friday, we needed you there. We needed to see someone that looked like us as one of our teachers.
Well, that is so true. And I like to say I was the first athletic director and the first head coach there, but there was a gentleman before me, Mr. Dennis Cruzan, who had been a lifetime resident there. But he set the pattern, and I just had to follow the pattern that was there. And you know, I had the longest tenure, and probably better known because his coaching year there, he moved into another position, and as an athletic director, he only did it 1 year when the predominant black school was closed, and he had to go to all-white school. But you know, and I'm going to throw in another, Mr. Brooks from St. Tammany High School. Great man, did a whole lot. And
I remember Mr.
What
Brooks.
they did for me, I like to think that I did it for a lot of the black kids and white kids around that community. It's amazing how, you know, I was able to come into that facility, into those schools, and accomplish what I did. And a lot of times, it wasn't because I was trying. I was just doing my job.
Well, that's a beautiful thing when you can do your job, and at the same time you can be at the time you probably didn't think that you would be a trailblazer and that you would have the longevity that you have, because most of the time we're living in the moment. But I'm glad that you had the illustrious career. I'm proud of Pearl River High School for, I don't know who it was who made the recommendation to name the track field after you, but I'm so excited that they did. And I'm glad that they did it so that you could basically see the love and smell the flowers, because so many times it happens and then it's like a memorial field. But for you to be able to be there at the event, in fact, I was watching the coverage today from, I think it was WVUE, the Fox station there in New Orleans. I was watching the coverage and seeing some of your former track athletes there. And I even saw one guy, he was a white guy, and he talked about how powerful the impact you had on his life. That was very touching. And to see that, especially with the history that we had, especially when I was growing up, and to see that was quite remarkable to me.
Well, it's that. And let me go back to the person who made the presentation, pushed forward, made sure that this recognition was done. It was my principal, my last principal that I had at the school. And we became very good friends, and a lot of times we travel back and forth to ball games and things, and we still have that friendship. It's good to know that, you know, you have a situation where you can contribute to the overall process and see progress. I mean, man, see progress. I have a book that I'm in the process of writing, and what it tells how at a point, if I had known, I would have never even looked toward Pearl River. But I'm proud of it now.
But I'm glad that you
know,
ended up in Pearl
really,
River.
really did a whole lot for me.
Well,
and
I'm glad
I just thank all the people around, like you and like your brother and your cousins and all those people that made sure that, you know, everything was just right at that school.
Well, that's right.
Actually, my son was the first senior class president at the school.
Oh, nice.
So, you know, we came a long way.
That we have, and my brother Lorenzo, who is in Albuquerque, you were the inspiration for him. He became an industrial arts major, and he was always good in art, but because of you, that's the reason he went to Jackson State University, got a master's and a bachelor's in the arts, and ended up becoming a teacher just like you. So that's the kind of impact that you've had on the lives of so many others, and I think that it's to be commended.
Well, thank you again. Thank you very much.
And also, again, I had a couple of other black teachers when I was at Pearl River Junior High School. There was Mrs. Ruth Butler, and then there was Mrs. Hartley.
Hartley, yes.
Yeah, those were my daughter is a senior at USC, and believe it or not, she has never had a black teacher. And, she went to school here in Orange County, and she's at USC now. And we were talking about this the other day on Saturday when we were riding around, or this past weekend. And I was the only one, actually, because for 10 years, I was a volunteer at her school. And so one year I had to be the art docent. And so that's where my coach, Charlie Bowman, art skills had to come to use. But on a couple of occasions, I had to, as a volunteer assistant, to teach art. And actually, even for a lot of those kids, I was the first and only black man that they would come in contact with in their young ages. But I was proud of those relationships with those kids because I still see a lot of them from time to time, and they still love them some Mr. Chambers, just like the people still love some Coach Charlie Bowman. So that must be a nice feeling to be able to be recognized and to have your students, regardless of their color, to be able to come to you and say thank you.
It is. It really is. And again, it's the idea that it's not about the color, it's not about the student, it's about making a way that they can get better. I had the same thing for a number of years. I'm not talking about while I was still there. I'm talking about now. Yep. I have kids that are coming up thanking me this day, just like you and Lorenzo have when I talked to you the last couple of days. And, it is such a good thing to have accomplished a lot and not even really know that you're doing it.
Yeah, you make an impact in the lives of others, and just like I've done with radio for over 30 years here in Southern California, I meet people all the time, and they say, "Oh, you're a legend," and I was like, I don't see myself as that, but what I have been is consistent and persistent. For those of you just joining us, I'm Eric J. Chambers. This is the Cut Chronicles, where we chronicle urban life. Our guest tonight is Coach Charlie Bowman. He's a longtime coach at Pearl River High School in Louisiana, and of course my former art teacher in the 9th and 10th grade there. And of course we brought him on. I wanted to put that out on the table first to celebrate him, and then also I'm going to be opening up the phone lines a little bit later on in the program. And those of you who are fans of Coach Charlie Bowman, I'm going to give you a number right now. It's 909-792-5222. That's 909-792-5222. In the second half hour of the program, we're going to give you a chance to, if you'd like to call up just to thank him, or call up just to even ask a question about this subject that we're about to embark upon. That is the number. But again, he is one of the very few men in America that has contracted this insidious disease called breast cancer. Breast cancer is most often found in women, but men can get it too. About 1 out of every 100, they say, breast cancer diagnoses are found in men. And I was on the Susan G. Komen website earlier today, and they were saying that breast cancer occurs when cells in the breast divide and they grow without normal control, and the tumors in the breast tend to grow slowly. By the time a lump is large enough to feel it, it may have been growing as many as 10 years. And they say some of the tumors are aggressive and grow much faster. 80% of the breast cancers begin in the milk ducts, and about 10%, they say, begin in the lobules, and a few begin in other breast tissue. But it also talked about men. It said in the United States, less than 1% of all breast cancers occur in men, and the risk of breast cancer is much lower in men than women. The lifetime risk of getting breast cancer is about 1 in 833 men in the United States compared to 1 in 8 women. And it says in 2023, it's estimated that Among the men in the United States, 2,800 new cases of invasive breast cancer and about 530 cancer deaths among men. So the numbers are much, much smaller among men when it comes to the fatalities of it. But at the same time, it talked about how the chances of survival were pretty much the same when it comes to the stages that the man is diagnosed in. Coach Bowman, tell us, how did you get diagnosed? What was the sign for you or the symptom that made you go and check yourself out?
Well, it was a strange thing. I was mowing my yard along one day, and this was in 2018, and I felt something floating in my chest. And I put my hand there. I could actually move it around. And, you know, at the time, I really didn't know anything about it. I wasn't aware. Yes, I've heard that men, have breast cancer, but, I thought you had to have breast cancer, but no.
Okay.
All you have to do is have a chest or that's it. That night, or even that day, I went to the emergency room, and the doctor examined me that night, and he actually pressed that mechanism down into my chest, and he made an appointment with my primary the next day. So that was the start. After seeing my primary doctor the next morning, he made an appointment with my cancer specialist, oncologist, to check this out. I checked it out that morning. That afternoon, I had to take a mammogram. The next step was to call a surgeon because they found that it was a cancerous tumor there, and it had to be removed. Now, the good thing about it, they overestimated. They thought it was much bigger. And a lot of people don't understand that because you don't have that mass, it begins to travel a little bit harder or a little bit faster within your body. So that's where I was at that point.
What was your reaction when you were told that you had breast cancer? What went through your mind?
Well, the thing was, how could this be? And I can imagine this. And the first thing I'm saying, the doctor questioned me. He said, "Is there any cancerous situation in your family?" I said, "Oh no, we have never had cancer in my family." So that weekend, I called him. I said, "Mother, do you know about any cancer in the family?" She said, "Oh yeah, me, your grandmother, your great grandmother, and great great grandmother." I said, "Why didn't we know this?" Oh, she said, "Your sisters know." So, that stigma is still there, that it's a woman-type thing. If I had known, maybe I would have reacted, maybe I would not. But now, allow me to say, hey, go back and check your history. I have a son now. Actually, he was traveling from his home in Memphis to visit us, and then he went back, and I said, look, son, you got to make sure that since I had it, that possibly you can have. So, you have to have that mentality to know and understand that it can exist.
Well, I've done shows here.
That was the first time. And once I got treated for it, the surgery was great. They removed it. They found all of it.
Okay, so you had the surgery.
The other thing that they did was I had to take some medication. I took the pill therapy, and I even had a blood test that was taken and sent out to California to be tested. When that came back 2 years later, they told me I had a 97% chance that I would never have cancer again. And guess what?
It came
5
back.
months before that grace period was over, I was working out in the gym. I put my hand under my left side where I had the operation, and I could feel lumps under there.
Wow. And so you're in treatment for that again?
Yes, I am. This is my second time around.
Okay. So just like it can return in women, it can definitely return in women, in men, I should say. And, of course, you're there in Louisiana, and I understand your mother and sister lives right here in L.A. Yes,
they're living out in L.A. right now. And, they were as shocked as I was. And, my mother has, my sister has 2 men, and I say, well, don't let them go not knowing that we have had a cancer history in our family. Because, hey, now they become more conscious and maybe not taking a mammogram as much as a female, but you know now that, hey, anything like this is happening. And you're right, less than 1%. But you know what I found out about that 1%? I talked to a lot of people and gave them my testimony and all, and they can just about everybody in their family or they knew someone, a male, who had breast cancer.
Wow.
That 1% can get real high.
It can, but I've only known 2 guys with it, you and, again, Richard Roundtree, John Shaft, and, of course, I've known various other women, and I've known people who have perished from it, and have a late friend, her name was Kelly Hill, and Kelly died about 7 to 10 years ago. She had what they call triple-negative breast cancer, and, of course, that's a very aggressive one, and it's... like I said, most of the time that I hear about breast cancer, it's because it's a woman who has it. But what we're going to do right now, Coach Bowman, we're going to take a station.
Let me just say one thing, Eric, about that. Because men are embarrassed when you put that word breast cancer on it.
Right.
And, like I say, I have found a lot of people, and I did make a video right after my experience with breast cancer to encourage men, especially if you have a history of cancer in your family, to at least consider going to a oncologist or a doctor and just put that out there and let them see what your situation might be.
Well, as I was saying a few moments ago, I did a couple of shows here, one last month and one last spring, on prostate cancer awareness, and even with something that is prevalent for men there, we still have a reluctancy for men to get checked out. So I can only imagine what it's like when it comes to breast cancer, because of the fact most of the time we think that it does not affect us. Yes, it's 1%, but you could be in that percentile. What we're going to do, I want you to stand by. We're going to take a quick station break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the signs and symptoms, okay?
Oh, fine. That's good. Thank you.
Once again, everybody.
Be right here.
Okay, once again, everybody, Eric J. Chambers. This is the Cut Chronicles on KCAA Radio, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. We are an NBC affiliate here in Southern California. Need to celebrate a loved one's life? McKay's Mortuaries can help. We offer affordable funeral services with value, quality, and compassion. And if you're looking for pre-planning needs, our agents are available to assist you in your home. We offer bilingual and multicultural services from our 5 locations. Call for an appointment today at 888-860-3125 or visit McKaysMortuaries.com. When that time comes, remember our name, McKay's Mortuaries.
Text and work. Text and pretend to work. Text and act surprised when someone calls you out for not working.
Who, me?
Text and whatever, just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Have you considered interviewing a parent or grandparent to preserve their history but don't know where to start or what questions to ask? If so, help has finally come. Dr. Eric J. Chambers presents Mama, I Want to Know You and Daddy, I Want to Know You, 2 books that will prompt you with over 200 questions that will help you record those sacred stories for the ages. Questions like, who were your grandparents? What were their occupations? Where were they born? Describe your favorite childhood memories. What are your fondest memories at Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and more? What was the proudest day of your life? How do you want to be remembered? What are your favorite scriptures, colors, and food? These books will help you write your family's history. Do it before dementia or time robs you of this opportunity. Order your copies today at whodatpublishinghouse.com. That's WHODAT publishinghouse.com.
You've seen all the pink ribbons for breast cancer awareness, but when it comes to your own body, are you truly aware of the possible signs and symptoms of this common cancer? In the U.S., breast cancer is the second most common cancer among people assigned female at birth and one of the leading causes of death. Everyone has breast tissue, which means anyone can develop breast cancer. In fact, cisgender women are at especially high risk, as are transgender men and non-binary people who have not undergone a mastectomy. And although it's less common, people assigned male at birth can develop breast cancer too. While hereditary factors can contribute to your likelihood of getting breast cancer, the reality is that 90 to 95% of breast cancer cases are sporadic, meaning they're not related to any known genetic predisposition to the disease. So it's important that you know what kind of changes to your body might be signs of breast cancer. By performing monthly breast self-exams, you can become familiar with the normal monthly changes in your breasts and be primed to notice any worrisome changes. Make sure to do it at the same time each month. If you menstruate, you should do the self-exam 3 to 5 days after your period ends. So what are the warning signs of breast cancer? Pay attention to any new lumps or thickening of the skin on your breast or underarm. Even a lump the size of a pebble or a pea can be a cause for concern. You may also feel a small hardened area under the skin. Not quite a lump, but not normal either. Be on the lookout for any changes in the general size, shape, or contour of your breasts, particularly if those changes happen on one side but not the other. And tell your doctor if you notice a change in the look or feel of the skin on the breast or nipple, like dimpled or puckered skin, redness, a scaly texture, or general inflammation. Pay attention to other changes to the nipples too, like if one nipple sinks inward, or if you notice a clear or reddish fluid discharge. If you notice one or more of these signs, schedule an appointment to talk to your doctor. Keep in mind that most lumps and abnormalities aren't cancer, but it's important to get checked out. Doing regular breast self-exams is a great way to maintain breast health and detect cancer early, when it's easier to treat and more likely to be cured. So think pink and get to know your breasts. Self-exams are an act of self-care, and they just might save your life.
Yes, I set it off. Hello there, darlings. It's your girl, Vivica A. Fox here, and you are tuned in to the Cut Chronicles. Enjoy.
KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. We are an NBC affiliate. Once again, everybody, I'm Eric J. Chambers. This is the Cut Chronicles, where we chronicle urban life. Tonight, we're talking about breast cancer, especially breast cancer in men. So that little snippet that you just heard, that came to us from the Cleveland Clinic. It gave you some of the signs and symptoms of what to look for when it comes to detecting breast cancer. And of course, breast cancer, when it comes to that particular disease, early detection is the key. And of course, regular screening is one of the most important steps in finding and successfully treating breast cancer. And of course, as they said, the earlier that breast cancer is found, the easier it is to treat and cure. And women with average breast cancer risk should discuss screening recommendations with their primary doctor or women's health provider starting at age 40. And women with a family history or an increased risk may be recommended to start screening even at an earlier age. And it says that the breast cancer screenings include a clinical breast exam where a medical professional physically examines your breast for potential issues. There's the mammogram that Coach Charlie Bowman spoke about. It's an x-ray of the breast that can detect cancer before it causes any symptoms. And there's also the breast MRI, contrast enhanced imaging used to image the breasts of women at high risk for developing breast cancer. So prayerfully, the information that we're giving you here, that actually information came from a local university right here at Loma Linda University, their health organization. So with some of the early signs and symptoms and ways to get screened. Again, Coach Bowman, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, when it comes to your message, what has the response been like, especially with men? because you've been basically evangelizing about this for a few years since you've had it. And what has that been like for you?
It's been a challenge, but yet it's been a blessing as well. Because, once you have went through something, you can share things with people, and you can eliminate a lot of the fears that, stigma and things that they expect because you have breast cancer. You haven't done anything wrong. That disease will attack any and everybody. What you have to do is do everything that you possibly can do to make it better for you. Now, there's a lot of treatment out there, and they're expanding on a lot of these treatments. I'm in the midst of my last phase of my chemo, and one of the things that I worried about was the stories that I was being told, how terrible it was, how drastic it is to try to get back into normal life if you survive chemo. But I'm a very spiritual person, and hey, God didn't bring me here to leave me. I've been blessed in many ways. I have a beautiful, very helpful wife. She's at my side all the time. Sometimes she just want to make sure that I'm just right in every way. And we appreciate the people around us. My church is very active in situations like that. I operate in the church as a deacon of the chairman of the deacon ministry.
Were you at North Shore? Is that where you are?
Schools and things there. So, there's a lot of things that, you can look forward to and, give you some incentive. I was hoping that I didn't have to take chemo because I knew sometimes it would pull you back. But I'm very glad that, if it will me better to make somebody else better down the road, hey, it's going to be worth it, no matter what I have to go through.
So you are part of, what is it, North Shore there in Slidell? The
yes,
church?
Greater North Shore Full Gospel Baptist Church Ministry, pastored by Bishop Robert J. Taylor and co-pastor Wall C. Taylor. And
okay. So Bishop Taylor is still there. I met him once or twice in the past when I was there. So that's good to know that he's still there.
Yeah, we've been in there for 28 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. Again, everybody, Eric J. Chambers here talking to Coach Charlie Bowman, who is a breast cancer. Not only he's a survivor, but he's a fighter as he's still fighting with it right now. What kind of advice would you give a person, whether it be male or female, if once they're diagnosed with this? What kind of advice would you give them as far as how to deal with it? And on top of that, how do you tell your family? Because a lot of times people are in disbelief that this has happened to them. And the next thing is some of them keep it quiet all the way to the end. And the next thing you know, you hear that a person has passed away. And it's like, I never knew they had that. So what do you say to that person who is...
The first thing you have to know is that, hey, you've been put on this earth for a purpose, and you need to take advantage of whatever out there. Now, I'm a firm believer of this. Medicine is not a perfect science, but you do whatever you have to do to make sure that your children, your family, and everyone, benefit from having you here. And I don't care, you don't have to be a great man. You just have to be a man and a woman and make sure that your family are taking it. Yes, I have experienced some of these situations where people, I'm going to die anyway. No, I'm not claiming it. Hey, God bring me here for me to finish my life short of my term. And yes, depending on the situation, there's a lot of different things going on out there. But, in the end result, if I get another day, that's a blessing. That is a blessing. And I try to take that day and make that a blessing. Not just for me, but for somebody else.
Absolutely. First of all, for those of you who would like to call in, now is the time. The number is 909-792-5222. That's 909-792-5222 is our call-in line. So if you'd like to call in to say hello to Coach Charlie Bowman, or if you have a question for him, now is the time to do that. But also, I believe that with you being a man of faith, I believe that God handpicks us for certain journeys. And because of you and because of your status, it holds a lot more weight than someone who didn't have the recognition that you have. And as a result of it, I think that that alone is going to save a lot of lives. And it's also going to it's going to encourage, I should say, a lot of men who normally wouldn't go because it was someone else that they'd never heard of. But when it's someone of your stature there in that community, I think that speaks volumes again. So I think that this is an assignment that God has chosen you specifically for such a time as this.
You are so right. It took me a while to recognize that. There was no way that I should have been at Pearlville High School. But God made sure, even through evil planning and everything, that I got there to make a difference. Did I ever campaign? Did I ever run? Did I ever, put myself out there? No. All I did was there. And once I, was there, it took me a while to realize. And I've used this quote that I think about Paul. I was blind, but now I see. And blindness doesn't, in this case, mean that, my sight is bad. I was blind so I wouldn't see what was going on until I got there. And once I got there, then now I see. And again, now I see is my story that I'm telling now, that people are listening. And, I'm not going to say it was an easy thing in my life. Maybe I could have took another direction. Actually, I was asked by my college professor to come back and try to teach at Grambling State in my art department. But, that wasn't God's plan. And I accepted that. I honored that. And, don't allow anyone else to tell you what you can't do and how God will not work in your life.
Absolutely. Everybody has their own journey to follow. And I remember when I actually got in this business the summer before I came to Pearl River High School. Kevin Cherry of the Slidell Daily Century News in June of '76 hired me making $3 an article. And then that following fall, I ended up at Pearl River Junior High School and for the couple of years. And I have stayed the course. So it's about being persistent and consistent. And I thank God for those roots. And but you know what? Had it not been for this breast cancer situation, you wouldn't be a guest on my show here today. So it's amazing how God just brings all of this stuff full circle, that he knew that I was going to be on this journey. You were going to be on yours. And on this day in 2023, that we'd be able to tell the world about not only where we both came from, our roots there at Pearl River High School, but also to try to encourage other people that breast cancer is not necessarily, it's not a death sentence, especially, again, early detection is the key. Let me ask you this. What are some of the symptoms with you? Is there pain at all that you feel, or some kind of abnormal feeling, or do you feel like blasé? What is it like knowing that you have it?
Well, number one, since I had it the first time, and I had no symptoms at all. This time, the heat, and we have had a very hot summer in Louisiana. That affected me a little bit. I did not take any other medication but the pill medication that was given to me during the treatment. I'm taking a lot of different things, and they seem to help a whole lot. I would like to say that, every day is a new day. My appetite is not what it used to be. I'm down almost 55 pounds lighter than I was when I first started this journey. But I know that everything is going to come full circle, and I'm going to be out here again doing everything I need to do to make the world a little bit better.
Well, that's awesome that you're doing that, and it's awesome that you have accepted this call on your life. Again, there's so many other people who have other dreams and hopes, and they had no idea that it was going to be a health situation that's going to basically not only put them on the map, but also is the way that God is going to use them as far as ministry is concerned. Let's talk about some of the risk factors. Several factors can increase a man's chance of getting breast cancer. I'll go over some of them right here that I got from one of the websites today. And it says getting older. It says the risk for breast cancer increases with age. Most breast cancers are found after age 50, especially in men. There's the genetic mutations, that's inherited changes in certain genes, such as the BRCA1 and BRCA2. They increase breast cancer risk. And then it said family history of breast cancer, which you mentioned earlier. A man's risk for breast cancer is higher if a close family member has had it. Radiation therapy treatment. Men who have had radiation therapy to the chest have a higher risk of getting breast cancer. So if you've needed radiation in the past, I guess that is one of the ways. It also says hormone therapy treatment. Drugs containing estrogen, which is a hormone that helps develop and maintain female sex characteristics, which were used to treat prostate cancer in the past, increases breast cancer risk. And then there's a couple other things here, including liver disease, like cirrhosis of the liver can lower androgen levels and raise estrogen levels in men, increasing the risk of breast cancer. And of course, those again are some of the risk factors that are involved when it comes to men getting breast cancer. And it also says that male breast cancer affects between 370 to 400 men a year in the UK. So their numbers are a little bit lower there than they are here. And but nevertheless, it's something that we definitely have to keep an eye on, because something so that appears to be so routine could end up being something that's detrimental to your health and to the long-term opportunities for you to live. What we're going to do is we're going to take one more station break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap things up. And again, if those of you who are listening would like to call in, the number is 909-792-5222. In fact, I want to do a segment called Say Her Name. So if you know of a loved one who has died as a result of breast cancer, or you know of a person who is dealing with it now is the time that you can say their name. And of course, if you yourself are dealing with it and you want to tell us some of your story, now is the time to call us. Once again, the number is 909-792-5222. It's time for another station break, but when we come back, again, we'll get back to those calls. But first, I'm Eric J., and this is the Cut Chronicles on 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. We are an NBC affiliate. Back in a moment. When the sun has set on a veteran's life and you want to plan a service with dignity, respect, and comfort, there's one funeral service provider that stands tall: McKay's Mortuaries. We offer affordable, quality, bilingual, and multicultural services that will make your grieving transition smoother. Call 888-860-3125 to set up an appointment, or visit McKaysMortuaries.com. When that time comes, remember our name, McKay's Mortuaries.
Wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Did you know there's a new Civil Rights Museum in the Inland Empire? It's the Civil Rights Institute, located at 3933 Mission Inn Avenue in Riverside. Its current exhibition, Still I Rise, the Black IE Fight for Justice, examines the lived experiences of Black residents of the IE from the Great Migration until now. We're open Thursdays and Fridays from noon till 5. For group tours, call 951-682-5307 or visit inlandcivilrights.org. KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. We are an NBC affiliate here in Southern California, coming to you live from our studios here in Redlands near San Bernardino. And again, we're talking breast cancer awareness tonight with Coach Charlie Bowman, who's our special guest on the phone, coming to us from Slidell, Louisiana, my hometown. Of course, I went to not only Pearl River for my freshman and sophomore years, but I graduated from Slidell High School back in the class of 1980. So the Lord blessed me to not only graduate from there, but to join the Navy, and that is the reason I came out here to chase the dreams of becoming a radio television host, and I'm blessed that I'm able to do the things that I am doing. You know, when it comes to breast cancer, there are various stages of it. And of course, there is one of my friends who lives right there in Pearl River, and her name is Karen. And I had this conversation with her. She was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2011. It was stage 4. And you know, she beat it. It's not every day that you hear that a person beat a stage 4 breast cancer situation, but she did. And speaking of the stages of breast cancer, let's take a listen at what those stages are.
What is breast cancer staging? Here is a guide to the 4 stages of breast cancer. Breast cancer staging describes how far the cancer is spread within the breast and other parts of the body. The later a person is diagnosed with breast cancer, the worse their 5-year survival outcome. What is stage 0 breast cancer? Stage 0 breast cancer is pre-invasive breast cancer. Abnormal cells are present, but they are contained within the milk duct in the case of ductal carcinoma in situ, DCIS, or lobule in the case of lobular carcinoma in situ, LCIS. What is stage 1 breast cancer? Stage 1 breast cancer is the earliest stage of invasive breast cancer. Cancer cells have spread from their original location in the ducts or lobules to the surrounding breast tissue. The tumor is less than 2 centimeters. DCIS is the most common type of breast cancer. What is stage 2 breast cancer? Stage 2 breast cancer is an invasive breast cancer. The tumor size varies from less than 2 centimeters to greater than 5 centimeters. It may or may not have spread to the lymph nodes. What is stage 3 breast cancer? Stage 3 breast cancer is a locally advanced breast cancer. It is an invasive breast cancer. The tumor size may vary from less than 2 centimeters to greater than 5 centimeters. It has spread to several lymph nodes and may have spread to nearby muscle and skin. What is stage 4 breast cancer? Stage 4 breast cancer is also known as advanced or metastatic breast cancer. The cancer has spread to other parts of the body, such as the liver or bones. Since 1994, NBCF has invested around $200 million into nearly 600 research projects. We will continue to fund game-changing breast cancer research until we reach 0 deaths from breast cancer.
Once again, those are the stages of breast cancer, and if you or someone that you know have it, of course, we are in prayer that you'll be able to not only get healed from it, but also get comforted as well. And in the meantime, I am glad that we had this opportunity to do this particular show, because this is such a very important situation here, because you see it all the time, especially when you hear of a young woman who has died of breast cancer, and she's got, young children, and their mother has been taken from them because of this insidious disease. And so my heart goes out to those who are either you've lost a mother or sister or a brother or a husband, and also for those who especially are young and they were robbed of some wonderful years with their parent. Okay, Coach Charlie Bowman, once again, tell me, what stage were you diagnosed when you first went to the doctor? What stage was it?
1.
Say again?
It was 1, stage 1.
Okay.
Yes, it had the first time it was in my chest, and it had not got to any of the other major areas in the body, and so the surgery really was affected to remove this, and that's why the doctor was hesitant about not doing any chemo or radiation And the only thing that I had to take during that particular time was the pill regiment that would keep me free of anything happening within those areas. Now, this phase of my second phase would be 2. But again, because of quick action, being alert, being aware, and being able to attack this situation early, it probably, and I'm believing that it has eliminated this possibility of breast cancer once again.
Wow. So it's definitely an overwhelming situation when you're notified that you have breast cancer, and I'm so excited that you have been able to evangelize on this and let people know again that this is what I've dealt with. I mean, and there you were, an athlete, you know, and a coach, and it's an example that it can strike anyone as far as that is concerned. And
no discrimination.
That's right. It has no discrimination when it comes to race, when it comes to color, when it comes to none of that. So people are unfortunately or strict. You know, they're stricken with this in all spheres of life, to be quite honest, you know. So, and we've seen it. And, of course, just yesterday, we heard about Suzanne Summers. You know, Today is her 77th birthday, and she died just yesterday, just a day shy of her 77th birthday from breast cancer. You heard about that, right?
Yeah, I did. It's been on television all day, and used to be one of my favorite shows, her and I can't name all the characters, but hey, every afternoon I was still watching it.
Yeah, that was Three's Company.
Three's Company, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we learned from. Okay, we got a caller. Let's see what the caller has to say. We have Debbie. Hello, Debbie. Okay, you there?
Hey, hello.
Hello. Thank you for calling. Okay, go ahead. You have a question or comment?
Hi, I was calling. I'm Charlie Bowman's sister.
Okay,
and,
wonderful.
was just calling in and to also give the name of the deceased, Laura Bell and Anna Mae Branch. And I was just calling in to support my brother who's on the program tonight.
Well, wonderful. Are you the one here in L.A. or you're in Louisiana?
Yes. No, I'm in Los Angeles.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and say hi to your mother for us. And I'm excited that you guys were able to tune in and hear his story. Of course, you already know the story. What is your reaction, Ben? What was your reaction when you first heard that your brother was stricken?
I was rather startled, surprised, because the history had been in the women's side, and it was just surprising to hear that the brother had gotten it. And, you know, thank God so far me and my sister hasn't been diagnosed it or has it yet. So it was really surprising to hear that he had it.
And so how did the family rally around him? Because I'm sure that it was something that was very concerning to everyone.
Yeah, well, we're a very spiritual family because, of course, we all went into prayer and putting him on the prayer list and things like that, and, you know, calling and supporting and checking in on him, things like that.
Well, that's wonderful. Okay, well, Deborah, I appreciate you calling, and I hope, is your mom listening too?
My mom, I'm a caregiver for my mom. She has Alzheimer's.
Okay, so she's dealing with, so you're dealing with a whole nother situation there, huh?
Yeah.
Your hands are full, huh?
A little bit.
Absolutely. And so I'm actually going to be doing a show on Alzheimer's sometime here real soon as well.
Okay.
So that we can encourage those who are caregivers and who are doing such an
more than
amazing
a
job. Without question. I know that it's big time work. Okay, final thoughts, Coach Charlie Bowman.
Yeah. I'm sorry, say that again.
Coach Bowman, we got about 30 seconds here, so give us your final thoughts.
This happen. And, you know, your faith will carry you a long way. Believe that you can and will, and God will allow this to go. And again, this is not a death certificate when you have it. Early detection. Please, especially ladies, do your regimen of going in and getting it done. Men, don't be embarrassed and deny your this situation. I do know of one gentleman say, I don't have breast cancer. I'm not going to do it today. And well, it was a short story. So, if you got to want to live and be productive in this life, do what you got to do.
Okay, once again, everybody, this is Eric J. Chambers, the Cut Chronicles. Thank you so much for tuning into the program wherever you listen to across the country, and specifically here in Southern California. My guest has been Coach Charlie Bowman. He's a legendary coach from Pearl River High School and also athletic director there, art teacher, and so much more. And again, at the top of the program, we mentioned the fact that there is a new track facility that is named in his honor. Well, that's going to do it for me. Again, thank you, Coach Bowman. Thank you, Deborah, for calling in as well. And thank you again for all of the listeners. In the meantime, get yourself checked, whether it be a mammogram, especially if you have found some symptoms. Be sure to tune into The Jazzle with Eric J. Saturdays beginning at 5 p.m. on this very station. If you like jazz and gospel, you'll love The Jazzle. Until we meet again, God bless you, God bless me, God bless us all. Good night for now.
Miss your favorite show? Download the podcast at KCAARadio.com.
Come and knock on our